when the teacher pounds on the wall, calling him out, I was like, God
I
damn!
had the biggest nerd on. I was just like, yes! Get his...
Stand up!
Get him!
What's up, everyone? Welcome to Nerd on the Podcast you didn't need, but you deserve, where all levels of nerd are welcome. When most people think of pop culture, capes, dragons, and villains come into mind. Today is not one of those days. Sometimes we can find connective tissue among nerds with stories that appeal to our ability to empathize with each other, whether it's in live action, written word, or like today's topic, animation. Today's topic covers the difficult topic of second chances, bullying, and anxiety growing up with the animated film A Silent Voice.
Oh,
man. There are tissues on the table because you need it. I warned both of them in advance. Corey's just stone-faced like, I am not amused.
I don't cry.
No, he's Anakin Skywalker.
Kill the younglings. Anyway, let's start things off with letting you know who your hosts are. I'm Caitlin.
I'm Tom.
And I'm Corey, and this episode is brought to you in part by the wonderful people of the Nerd On Nation of Patreon. Join the Nerd On Nation. It's a whole lot of fun. I know Josh usually does this really smooth, like jazzy, musical, beautiful display of what Patreon is. But look, I'm here to give you the real stuff. You get lots of cool episodes. You get the Nerd On Extra, which is exclusive to Patreon only. About a half hour of us just goofing off, answering real deep questions, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Or you get the Nerd On Minute, which is literally just a minute where we go around the table real quick and answer a question.
Bang!
You also get access to a secret Discord.
Bang!
That's pretty dope. You have direct access to us,
Bam!
the nerds.
Oh my gosh.
You can ask us cool questions. There's stuff is happening all the time.
Constantly.
We got memes. We got movies.
Bam!
She's just
We
so
got anime.
violent.
Tabletop games. Pow pow. So yeah, join us. It's a whole lot of fun. This episode is also brought to you in part by Odyssey with Embody Audio.
I wanted you to do it by yourself.
Oh,
Okay.
I thought you were gonna join me. I was like, guys,
No.
am I doing this
I
right?
know.
Josh, are you here? Help! Yeah, it's we're excited to be here. Did I miss anything?
Odyssey.
I said it.
And Apogee and Antibody.
Apogee.
Yeah, good. We got it all. We did it, guys.
4 quarters, baby. 4 quarters.
Yeah.
$12 a year for that Patreon.
Mm-hmm.
Real
Support
simple,
us.
real easy.
We can do so much more when you are
see
supporting
these?
us.
You see these mic stands? See
These
how they're
little
smaller
baby
now?
ones.
Yeah,
You can
that's
see
all
our
'cause of you.
faces now.
That's what y'all did. Y'all made it so you could see our beautiful faces.
Also,
finally.
you get the episodes way earlier than
Yeah,
everyone else.
like a lot.
yeah.
By several days.
Like by the time the public's hearing this, all of Patreon's had time with it.
Oh yeah.
They've all heard it. It's fine.
They've
They're
like
way
snuggled
ahead of
up
you.
to it
Yeah.
at home.
But no, I think that's fine. I think we move on to this. No, that's a Josh thing. I was like, silent episode. No, that's not.
No.
Let's say this animated episode.
Yeah, that's true. You would say that.
Well, now we'll go into our first 2 segments of our show. And that's going to be dealing with the end of the show. And throughout. Where at first we're now going to go around this table and guess that Grump!
Why you make me feel this?
We always go so hard, and this was like, oh yeah, this was
This is a soft movie.
Clinky.
So guess that Grump, and then all part of Neuron episodes. We're gonna guess who is gonna have the lowest score from 1 out of 5, no matter how high the number is.
Because we rate it at the end.
Yes.
Yes.
The lowest number is going to be the Grump for the week. And
Take some notes here.
Since I always explain and I always miss something every once in a while, Caitlin, you go first.
All right.
Who do you think?
think it's going to be
Not Mason.
Corey.
Also, welcome, Caitlin, to the trifecta episodes where it's really hard to guess it's really hard to make guesses because you're just giving ultimatums.
Actually, I felt pretty confident in my choice. I just wanted to look at
Oh,
Tom
yeah,
for
well,
long enough that he'd feel confused.
It's either one or the other. And so for me, I'm going to also guess Corey.
Yeah. All right. All right. I see you.
Because this is Caitlin's choice.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
a little easier for us because you suggest the episode.
Yeah.
So I got to guess Tom.
Yeah,
I got to
Yeah.
guess Tom. I have to. I have no choice in that.
it's true.
Are you sitting at home being all like, you idiots. Caitlin tricked you. She picked this because she hates it and she's going to give it a low score.
Yeah.
Well, if you're so confident, go ahead and join that Nerd On Nation, because guess what? Another thing you get is to participate in the Guess That Grumper Gator Guesser Grumper Garden
Koi fish
bullying learning lessons Gator Grumper Guesser. That's right. If you guess the grump right in our poll, you get a shout out on the episode. So that's pretty cool.
It's pretty
That's
sweet.
pretty
I'll give you a
cool.
minute to join and vote. Go ahead.
Yeah.
All right, there
Cool,
you
cool,
are. Welcome. And the Nerd On Nation has spoken.
Who did they pick, Corey?
Tom.
Wow. So, with
I'm so
that,
excited.
we'll go into the complete spoiler of that segment.
Just to throw this out there, it means Caitlin goes first, and then we battle to the death to see who goes last.
Okay.
Cool.
It'll be me. I'll go last.
We'll go into the complete spoiler of it and go into our initial reactions and our first impressions. Kaylin, I do want to know why you chose this episode,
Yeah.
this particular film.
I have seen a lot of anime that has made me cry, but there are very few that have made me cry over and over and over again, consistently, because of how well the emotional scenes are executed. Everything about this is beautiful and heartbreaking, and no one in this is wholly a great person. Like,
Everyone's growing.
everyone's growing.
No one is perfect when
Everyone's-
they're born, and no one's perfect as they continue.
Yeah, yes. So it leaves a lot of things that are open-ended, and but while also trudging forward and trying to change in process of that. And I really enjoy that kind of storytelling.
I dig
So, what were
it.
your
What was your
initial-
first impression? When you
Crying.
first saw it?
A lot of crying.
When did you see it?
I
Like-
saw it a few years ago. I actually auditioned to be in it, and so I knew of it through that. And then when I saw it came out, I was like, I want to see what they did. I want to see like who got what and like how it sounds and everything. And it was so
Just
good.
tears.
It was so good. Just
For 2 hours.
everything about it. The music is so good.
Oh my
The
God.
visuals are so good. I have things to tell you about the music later on.
Good.
Just all of it is so spot on.
Mhm.
I love it. There are a lot of complexities that I feel like you could talk about and get angry about in a way.
Sure.
But that's kind of the point, I feel. So yeah, I really like the movie.
Corey,
Like,
you
a
me.
lot.
I'll go next.
Okay.
I didn't know about it or watch it until preparing for this episode. And typically, if you've watched our show or heard me speak, I have and this is there's nothing against the art itself. This is a total personal preference thing. I have an issue connecting most of the time with more slice of life anime. It's a little more melodramatic than my taste allows me to kind of delve into. And this avoided every single one of those tropes. This was really, really grounded. I felt like the emotional scenes were not over the top in any way to kind of portray an emotion, and instead just let it live in a very real one. And man, from start to finish, this art style is just absolutely gorgeous. Beautifully rendered, beautifully done. The colors are wonderful. I can't wait to hear about the music later in the episode. I'm very interested to hear what you say about that. And I thought it took a big risk, which I think could have really hindered the story. And I know this is an adaptation, but even so, they could have adapted it from a different point of view. They stuck with the point of view of the bully,
Sure, yeah.
which can really disconnect people from the perspective of the story, and they pulled it off, which is really, I feel like, very difficult to do, especially nowadays with like cyberbullying being so big. And so I'm really impressed with this.
Ooh, Tom.
I knew of this film through the grapevine.
Okay.
Typically, since I'm all about film and I love anime, you hear about 5 centimeters per second, Your Name. You hear about these anime films that, like, because of Spirited Away, people were like, oh, like Spirited Away was the top grossing film for anime films of all time. And then it got taken away by, I think, this. And then I think Your Name. And then I think now recently Dragon Ball Z Broly or Dragon Ball Super Broly. So I really like that.
What a wide variety of films.
It's kind of all over the board.
And that's what I really like about it, where it's like animated films I don't think get their flowers really. And
Ooh, we gotta talk about flowers later too.
yeah, and that's something I really enjoyed with this. And this part of me, and this is just, I just have to get this out there where it's like, y'all gotta watch more of these kind of films. Stop watching
If you want.
the conventional, and watch something like this. So my initial reactions to this, it's funny because before we recorded last week, Caitlin was like, "Hey, if anyone wants to watch and cry together, let's do it." I got really busy with something, but it actually reminded me of our time watching Trainspotting. And that was a very emotional experience for Caitlin. That was almost like what I was like.
Yeah.
And except, I'm toxic, so like I stifled all my tears.
Oh no.
No, I didn't. But in that same way, where like that's just something that kind of that stood out to me too, is a slice of life thing, right? Like it's technically in a category called slice of life, but like you look at films like Trainspotting, where like there's not truly an antagonist, and the characters are just going through this journey, and like you don't know what the stakes are other than their own lives and
their lives and their choices
in their own peril. Yeah. And that's what it really reminded me of. And Trainspotting is a wonderful film. This one here touched me a little bit more because I do have a history that I kind of feel like I'm wrestling with, that terms of like when I was a kid, I was terrible to other kids. And I constantly kind of have this guilt of myself of like, I need to be good and make sure everyone just feels happy about themselves. And so that this film like got me. It got me so hard. And I absolutely loved it. And I was just like, like literally there was moments where I was like, no,
yeah.
no. And then worse things, I was like, no.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I was in it. I was hooked. And that, to Corey's point, I was just like so surprised at the storytelling, and we'll go more into it later, but I was thoroughly enthused, and it's one of those movies that's like, I think I'm a little bit changed after this.
Wow.
So,
I picked right.
Yeah.
Well, now I just want to watch sad anime movies.
I have many.
Yeah. So now we'll move on from that and go into our next two segments.
Yeah.
That just gave you a little bit of taste of who might be the grump and then what we're going to be in for to the rest of the episode. So we'll do our brief synopsis and then our production. And the brief synopsis would have been Corey, but I didn't think I told him before the episode.
You didn't tell me.
So
I can also find and read it.
Caitlin can find and read it if you just Google it online.
That's what's
The
going to
effects
happen.
of bullying cause ripples through many lives. Learning to live with the guilt and forgiving yourself is explored in this tale between two people.
Thank you for stalling for time. When a grade school
I feel like
student,
that's pretty
oh, so close, a silent voice. When a grade school student with impaired hearing is bullied mercilessly, she transfers to another school. Years later, one of her former tormentors sets out to make amends. That's all they say. That's all they give you about
That's
this
all
movie.
I do. Bing, bada, boom.
I liked mine.
It's pretty good. I'm not gonna lie.
Don't bully. And the production will be given to you by me. And I'm going to apologize in advance if I mess up any of the names. I'm going to pronounce them as best
keep
as I
an
can. So the distributor is by Shochiko, which has given us such films as The Guyver and Venus Wars. The production company is Kyoto Animation.
Kyoani.
Which has given us such things as Violet Evergarden, Free, and Clannad. The director for this is Naoko Yamada, who has given us such things as K-On! The Movie, Liz and the Bluebird, and Tamako Love Story. The producers is Iharo Ohashi, who's given us such things as Sound Euphonium. Check out that episode.
Oh, yeah.
Air, and then another producer is Toshio Aizuka, who has given us such thing as Amanchu and the Ancient Magus Bride?
Mages?
Oh yeah, Magus Bride. And Shinichi Nakamura, who's given us such thing as Beyond the Boundary and Kanon. Kensuke Tateishi, who's given us such thing as Prison School and Attack on Titan. Mikio Uetsuki, who's given us such thing as Darling in the Franks, which is XXX. Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid. The writers for the film is Reiko Yoshida, who has given us such things as Blue Exorcist, the movie, Rurouni Kenshin, Reflection, and Digimon Adventure, our war game. And the film is based off the manga by Yoshitoki Aoyama. The cast, so I'll go by each character and then their English dub. They're Japanese and their English actor. So Shoya is played by Miyu Airino, who's in such thing as Spirited Away, The Garden of Words, and the English voice is Robbie Damon from Spider-Man and Persona 5 Royale. Shoko is played by Saori Hayami, who was in such things as Demon Slayer, Project X Zone, and the English actor was Lexi Marmon, who was in such things as Glee and Magic Camp. Yuzuru is played by Aoi Yuki, who is from Your Name, Kamen Rider, Ghost, and the English dub is Kristen Sullivan from Waiting Short and The Week Of. Tomohiro is played by Kensho Ono from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure and Starmio, and the English dub is Graham Halstead from Contra Rogue Corps and Last Man. Naoka is played by Yuki Kaneko from Yakuza 5 and Tamako Market, and the English dub is Kira Buckland from River City Girls and Nier Automata. Miyoko is played by Yui Ishikawa from Attack on Titan, Nier Automata, and the English dub is Melissa Schoenberg from Pokemon and Under the Shadow. Miki is played by Megumi Han from Hunter x Hunter, Ultraman Geed, and English dub by Amber Lee Connors from Attack on Titan, Guilty Gear Strive. And lastly, Satoshi is played by Toshiyuki Toyonaga from Ultraman Dyna and Gamers. And the English dub is Max Middleman from One Punch Man. The release date was September 17th, 2016 in Japan, and the runtime is 133 minutes. The budget is not listed, and the gross made $33 million worldwide. And the Rotten Tomato score is 94% from critics from 36 reviews and 93% from audience from 2,500 ratings.
Wow.
Woo!
So, people like it. It's a classic. I won't lie that I watched a little bit of a video essay before this of why everyone should have gotten mad that Boss Baby won the Academy Award when this movie was never even nominated.
I think beyond this not being nominated, people should just be mad that Boss Baby won that award.
Yeah.
Regardless of this film.
That being said, now we go into the complete spoilers. So far, we've not done any spoilers too much.
No, now's your chance.
Now, get out, watch the movie. It's on
the
Netflix.
flicks. Yeah.
Yeah. It's seriously, go
Very
watch
accessible.
it multiple times, really.
If you don't have an account, steal someone else's.
You'll pick up brand new things every time you watch it.
Yeah.
And now we'll go into the meat and potatoes of the show. We'll do our favorite parts, our favorite characters, and then our qualms, and finally our ratings. So, who wants to go first?
So I'm
Start us
just
off.
gonna pop in with
Yeah.
my little thing about music and flowers.
Okay,
Yes.
please.
Because this movie it's just does such a good job about so many things. But do you know why that piano was so heart-wrenching?
So, I don't know this, but I want you
It was
to
pretty.
hopefully have this information so you can probably expound upon it more. One thing that I noticed from the piano playing, I could hear the actual like keys like scraping against each other, and like you could, you know how when you do an appraisal, you hear all the things and so like I heard that when I'm like I don't
You hear
normally,
the hammers hitting the strings.
yeah, I don't normally hear that stuff.
They put the microphone inside of the piano.
Oh.
Because for Shoko, she is like surrounded by all this sound and it's more about like what she can feel rather than being able to hear it.
Yeah.
So they wanted to like give you that
It's like the moment
that
with the
intensity.
fireworks in the cup.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Okay.
So yeah, that was definitely a choice to have all those scratchy plinky sounds.
Yeah.
And then I did a little research on the that was really all I have for the music, was just like they were very intentional with all of their choices
How they
of,
mic'd it
of
and stuff.
everything.
Yeah. The
but
tone of it.
I found someone had done a breakdown of the flower language in the film, because there was a lot of it. And even if you didn't know what you were looking at, you knew you were looking at something specific.
For me, and I'll put myself on the chopping block, there's a lot of cultural things that I'm pretty sure, only because I've watched some anime, that I know these things. Like saying sorry with your body, being close to the ground and next to the person you're saying sorry to their feet is a very common practice, but also it's like that's how you profusely say sorry.
Yeah.
In the States, we're just like, I'm sorry, my bad, and we just walk away.
Yeah.
So it's cultural differences. So I want to hear about this.
So the film is all about flowers, and it actually starts out with a firework. And that's what stops Shoya from killing himself and Shoko from killing herself. And the film starts out at the very beginning with a little fireworks, little fireworks spark, and that's, I think, the translation for a firework is like fire flower. So that's and in Japanese culture, I did a little bit of research of that. Fireworks represent kind of the transience of life, the passing of beauty, the moment. You know,
Right.
You know,
It's not
it goes
forever.
and
Yeah.
it goes away. So
Right.
it's sort of Shoya being stopped was being like, oh, it wasn't his time to go yet. Same with
Which is later, it's foreshadowed. It's a really wonderful effect.
Right. So that's where they start with things, and I'm only going to do a couple of them, like with the main characters.
Okay.
So you see a lot of daisies with Shoko because in flower language, that's a symbol of like purity, a return to innocence, new beginnings. As a gift, it can be a message of faithful, childlike love. You see yellow and purple daisies that happen after like Shoya lashes out at her, or when he finds out that she transferred.
Yeah, because there's cutaways, which I really like. It also, just for like a film language, it provides a nice stillness, a pause to the emotional wrecks you're going through. And so you're seeing these flowers.
Still calm images.
Yeah.
But each time they're being like, no, this is the emotion that's happening. And then I think they were called cyclamen, those like blue and red flowers that she's holding when they're in elementary school. She brings
she comes
them to
into
the
the cloud of
classroom.
it. Yeah.
So those can mean two very different things. It can either be a determined lasting love or resignation, like goodbye. So that's a very symbolic plant for the kind of admiration,
baby.
Love thing that they got going on.
So this is the scene she comes in and he's written something on the board.
Yeah.
And
Right.
she writes
Well,
she writes thank you.
This is right
Right.
after Asahara leaves, and so she's by herself.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's like the tiniest taste, but they're literally just everywhere in the movie.
Yeah.
You see examples of it. I mean, Naoka is even wearing a shirt with a hibiscus on it, which is like, oh, it's fleeting beauty. Appreciate it as it is. It's going to go away.
Right.
But also, yeah,
That's
there's so
very
much.
pretty.
To me, the thing
beautiful.
that I got the most out of was the koi.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You know, for the listeners who don't know, I mean, I'll make the analogy really dumb, but it's Magikarp. You know, Magikarp becomes a Gyarados dragon. And the story, to the fairy tale or the lore is supposed to be that a bunch of koi swim upstream of a river, and the river is supposed to like kind of embody life and difficulties, and there's demons that are telling them that they cannot go up the waterfall, and then one koi goes up the waterfall and then becomes a dragon, and like they feed these koi in this river that they're constantly jumping into. And there's a lot of nice little slow-mo can be used, y'all. A lot of good slow-mo moments.
Restore the Snyderverse.
Yeah. So like we meet Shoya about to jump off a bridge. And then the second shot we see of someone jumping off a bridge is when he's with his he's with his friends, and they're jumping off carefree.
Right.
And then the next time we see someone jumping off a bridge, I believe it's when Shoko goes for her notebook, and you see a cutaway of a hand, and he can't reach her.
Yeah.
And it's that, you know, visual storytelling of that, like he still doesn't reach her.
Yeah.
And then that happens later on too, when he's down this steep hill, and then he comes up to talk to her, and he slides down, and then she can't reach him. There's a cutaway, just her hands don't grab his. And there's a lot of those little motifs that happen. And then finally, you know, when Shoko decides to take her life, like he finally reaches her. They finally are speaking the same language. They are understanding each other emotionally because they're both coming from the same place, but just different ways. And then at the very end, you know, we see, you know, and throughout the thing, all the kois are all gray and one is colorful. And so we understand that this is a story about them, and then they're coming like beyond their reincarnated parts. And so it's like a lot of, again, second chances of like who they were in 6th grade versus who they are now in 11th grade. And I was just like, oh my God. Like, and that's,
I knew it was going to smack Tom like 50 different ways.
Well, like that's the thing where I just really love, because like, I think the film operates so like intellectually that if you're casually watching, it's 1, not going to make sense. 2, you're not going to care about it. And 3, you may not care for it.
I disagree. I feel like even if you don't get everything, you'll still get it.
I don't think he's saying if you don't get anything. He said if you're casually watching it in a sense of like, you know, there's a lot of things I've seen online where they're like, don't necessarily watch this with other people. Like, make sure you can focus on this film. There's a lot of little things that happen. Make sure you're not like scrolling Instagram and have this on the background to watch.
I see.
You need to be engaging with this film.
Like,
otherwise, it won't make a lot of sense.
I'll be 100% honest. There's like 50 things.
But I agree with you also in the sense that like you don't need to speak film language like Tom does to get all of it.
Well, no, there's like
that's more what I mean.
like
but you do need to engage.
There's like 50 things that I missed on the first run around. And I was like, okay. Like, but it was enough because I saw like action, but I didn't see why. And then I'm like, what is it? And then when I watched it again, I was like, holy crap. I looked off screen for maybe 10 seconds probably during that time, and then I didn't see it. and then I saw it, and so like, why did Shoya have to give money back to his mother? Like, why does she have a bloody ear? I was like, I know why she had a bloody ear, but I'm like, she had a bloody ear.
Yeah.
Like, I totally missed that. Like, I just saw, hey, we have to go home, and you're just gonna try to be nicer from now on. Like, that's all I saw. I didn't see the blood coming from her ear, and so when they show that scene again, I'm like, did that just happen in his dream? And then I was like, oh my God, I missed. That's the thing. It happens so fast. And it happens in a way where, like, again, if you're not paying attention, you're not openly in a place where you're wanting to open your heart and engage with the movie, all of it's going to go blasting by.
Yeah.
And you're not going to pick
Full
it up.
thrust,
and
yeah.
So, yeah. Anyways, I didn't hear from Corey yet. What
Yeah.
well,
It's just that it hasn't been my turn yet.
No.
That's all. The one that really got me the first time was when he realizes, he doesn't realize it until he does it, but that this was, I want to be friends.
Oh,
and
he
then
slaps himself.
he has the flashback of her trying to say that in the schoolyard, and I was like, oh, this is this kind of film.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I get you.
So now, full spoilers, I was 100% there. I was like, I hate this kid. I ain't never going to trust this, kid. Like,
yeah,
I'm trying to keep it
100%.
clean.
Yeah.
But then I was like, and then when you see it, like, oh, you are trying to do like a triple axle, backflip, forward flip, all the things, cool
Yeah.
things, some Simone Biles shit.
Yeah.
Of like, you're going to try to make me hate a person and then make me root for them.
Yeah.
I'm like, no,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
no way.
Yeah. That's when I realized what kind of movie this was going to be. And that moment was just very, again, like that real, very real feeling, and not afraid to address it or show it, or even feel like they needed to soften it in any way. I just thought that was a really wonderful, like, foreshadowing of what the whole film is going to be. Like, a lot of these, like, oh shit, I didn't even realize I did this until this thing happened, and now I realize it. With Tom in that moment, I was just very like, okay, so they're gonna, I'm gonna care for this guy at the end of the film. We'll see what happens.
But and that's the thing.
you
where
do.
It's an adaptation. So like, I haven't read the original manga, but I'm assuming the original manga kind of takes place like very chronologically. But then the way that the film does it, they handle like 46 chapters in like 3 minutes. Of like, here's Shoya as a kid, and he this is how he becomes a bully, this is why he's a bully, and like how he becomes bullied, and then how he becomes lonely, and then how, like, what the exes mean, like, all that stuff happens so quickly that, again, y'all got to pay attention to this. That was the thing. I was just like, and so, like, when I was watching the exes, I absolutely love the exes.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's great.
I love
Because
the
like
exes.
you learn the only way, even if you watch how he interacts with his friends, the only way he knows how to interact with people is to be mean and make fun of people. And so when you get to adult life and people don't take that shit anymore, you don't, and no one's taught you how to react or interact with people on an adult level, or you haven't taken the time to really like learn those skills, then yeah, you have trouble connecting for sure. And the visual representation with the blue X's was wonderful.
Well, I just love that, like,
And the way they peel away when
you're
people try to interact with him.
You're subliminally watching things. Like when you first see him, and he's like, because like in the opening sequence there is I forget the name of the song, but by the Who.
Oh, Generation.
My generation.
My
Yeah,
generation. You see young Shoya like walking around happy, like nothing, and then the next shot you see of him walking is like in that same angle, like just him coming towards the camera, is in when he's in high school and he's nervous, his head's down to the ground. It's a very different character, and again, it's a subliminal thing. And then we see a shot of like him looking at people's feet, and you just kind of think like, oh, this is beautiful animation, but it's like really good direction of like, oh, this is how he sees the world.
Yeah.
And like, to your point, like once he starts letting people in, then the X's come off. And I'll say, like, at the very end, when all the X's come off with the drum, and then all the X's come off, and then he just cannot stop crying. I was just like, oh no.
Yeah.
I am broken into a million. Don't talk to me right now.
Because I want to hear from Caitlin more. But I do want to say this, speaking about the just my last thought into this with the bullying and like, talking about the trauma of knowing you've kind of ruined someone's life and coming to that realization because you're bullied yourself and you're exiled can be a really, I mentioned at the beginning, can be a really fine tightrope to walk where you're not excusing bullying, but telling a story of people, I mean, much like you said yourself, Tom, like you, who do realize these things and try to work hard to change it. And I like this because they also leave in people who haven't changed, who did bully and decided that for the rest of their life, that's just kind of who they are. I'm blanking on her name right now.
Naoka.
Thank you. Yeah.
Naoka.
Her
Naoka.
inclusion within the story
Naoka?
beyond good writing, but even just from an aspect of like, I want to tell this story about a bully who seeks redemption. I also need the foil of that in this story.
I love that she at the end of the film, she's kind of starting that journey, but it's not in the same way.
But it's going to be a long
It's not in the same way as him, where he had to lose quote unquote everything
because she hasn't lost anything.
Yeah,
Right.
and
And a lot of those kids who did bully didn't lose anything, and that's that moment in the classroom where he's like, everyone else is bullied too, and everyone's like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Kids are so brutal.
But in that moment, as an audience member, you're like, yeah, whatever, fuck him, who cares?
yeah, no. Well, I mean, to me, like,
And then you learn, and you're like, oh, those fucking kids.
Yeah.
well, and that's
Eat him alive.
Well, and that's the thing where
But the foil was good.
I really, and that's the thing I love, and that's a little David Fincher thing. If you have two people in a room arguing about something, they both have to be right. And so, like, he is the worst out of all the kids, but all those kids were complicit.
Yeah.
Like, no one really told him to
Not
stop.
even complicit, but also took part. In
Yeah,
some
they
of
took
it.
part.
Yeah.
And that's the thing with Miki. Like, she didn't really stop him. And so, like, even though she wants to claim innocence, like, she didn't do anything. And, like, really, Sahara gets most of the brunt of, like, well, you're just a coward and you run away from when everything's hard. And I'm like, he's not wrong. But that's the thing that you were talking about, Caitlin, where, like, no one here is perfect.
The good person.
And they're
that
all
did
having to
everything
grow.
right.
But then the thing is, it's the redemption story of Shoyo, which is like he has the most to grow from, and it's cool to see other characters who are like who would be in the same journey as him if they had been through the same life experiences. But that's also the thing with the show. With the film of like Naoka telling that to Shoko. She's like, you don't understand me. And I won't understand you. And it's not even just on a language standpoint. It's just like what people are going through and what they're living with. And like even Yuzuru like doesn't understand her sister in that way.
Yeah.
And she's like, I thought I can do this. And I was just like, oh my God.
Oh, all of her Yuzuru's photography.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, something that I loved about this, because I know I feel like favorite parts is also just talking about things that impacted us in this. I don't think it's hard to have favorite parts about all of the depressing things that happened.
Yeah.
But something that I really enjoyed a lot was Yuzuru and Shoko's grandmother. That conversation with Yuzuru.
Again, you see that shot with them in the hospital. You don't know what it's about. And so I watched it and I was like, oh no, what's going to happen to Shoko? Is this going to be Walk to Remember? I
mean, they leave it vague so that you know it's bad.
Yeah,
but you don't
I didn't know who's it bad for.
And they left it quiet so that you're in, Shoko's position so that you only see your grandma's face going.
Well, and that's the thing. I was like, I don't know if it was about the grandma or if it was about Shoko. And I was like, oh my God. And then when it happens, like, oh my God.
Yeah. Well, and I'm pretty sure that hospital trip was about Shoko and that she was never going to get any of
her hearing back.
Yeah. But the scene I'm talking about in particular is the one with Yuzuru at the table where she's like, I have the greatest granddaughters. Like these are great kids. And she still gives her,
she's
mochi.
Like, I haven't gone to school in weeks. She's like, but you have a heart of gold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, when Yuzuru has the dream about who she thinks is like Shoko dying. And then she sees the moth, and it's actually her grandma that passed away. I'm pretty sure next to her while she was sleeping. She woke up.
100%. 100%.
So good. That one gets me every time because I forget it's going to happen. Like every single time I watch that movie, I forget it's going to happen. I'm like, no, grandma.
A favorite part that I really enjoyed was I just really kind of like the setup of it where Shoyo sticks up for... Shoya sticks up for
Nagatsuka.
Tomohiro, yeah. And pretty much just like intervenes. He stops someone else from getting bullied.
It's a very passive intervening. He's like, you can take my bike.
Yeah, the bike.
Well, because he's a pushover now.
Yeah.
And he finds the bike.
I mean, I guess also, we're kind of very much glossing over. The story starts out with like Shoya wanting to kill himself.
Yeah.
And then like
oh, you mean the adult stuff? Or the older stuff?
Well,
Yeah.
And but like
And then the mom.
But the mom coming
Miyako.
in, and then Marie, the little
Marie.
girl,
Oh,
the cute little baby, but like
her squeaky shoes at the end killed me.
The mom putting it all together. She's like, your calendar's blank after the 15th.
Yeah, you ripped it in half.
Yeah.
And also you cleaned your room, you sold your futon, you took away all your worldly things.
Yeah.
But like also shout out to the mom, shout out to like, and that's the thing I really liked about this film, that like it's not the focus of it, but you have to notice it. These are single mothers.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that's really cool. That's kind of like, maybe that's in the manga and I don't know, but like in the film, they really kind of play it in the sense of like, yeah, you don't know what their lives are like at home.
I think I read online somewhere that, and I don't remember if they touched on this in the film, but they become, the two moms become friends. And one of the reasons they bond is they go out and they start talking about their bad luck with men and share stories about that and stuff and how they're single moms. And it's really sweet.
But like, and again, that whole thing with Shoya's mom, it's like bloody ear. I'm like, but what happened?
Yeah. The slap.
Yeah.
I
That
also
slap, though.
really enjoy the fact that Shoko's mom, even though like it's one of those things where she ripped out Miki's earring.
Yeah.
Like she caused her the same kind of damage that Shoko sustained. And Miki was probably chill throughout the whole thing, considering how she handled things when she came back to the hospital later for Shoya.
I mean, and that's the thing. It's like, and so as someone who...
Oh, yeah, he gets a slap too.
Everyone gets some slapping.
Yeah.
Everyone gets slapped in this movie.
And to me,
I just meant by her.
I was so for it. I was just so for it. I'm like... Because when I was watching the beginning sequence with young Shoya, I was like, I would want to hurt this kid.
Yeah.
Like this
God.
kid.
When the teacher pounds on the wall, calling him out, I was like, God
I
damn.
had the biggest nerd on. I was just like, yes! Get his...
Stand up.
Get him! Get
And the
him!
children gasp.
But the thing
Stand
about
up.
that, the
I was
thing
like,
about
whoa.
that teacher, he
didn't
let
do
it
shit
happen.
either. Yeah.
And that's like the very toxic thing that happens. And you know, I know teachers, and I know that they literally individually care about their students.
Yeah.
But that's the kind of thing that I feel like isn't talked about enough. It's like, because we don't. It's like, you know, police officers. We don't want to hear about bad police officers. We don't want to hear about bad teachers. But there is that sense of like they don't really care. Like there's some teachers that ruin it for everyone else.
Yeah.
And they don't care about it until it gets really problematic.
Yeah.
And it's like you could have stopped it.
Yeah.
Like
Before the principal had
you
to get in here.
saw multiple times that Shoya was acting out and you didn't do anything. You just kind of like, all
Well,
right,
his
stop.
actions there prove that he knew. Like him calling him out. You know you're the worst. You're like, first of all, you know that he's the worst. That means you know everyone else does it too.
Yeah.
Which sucks.
Yeah.
But I jumped when that happened. I was like, oh, shit.
I loved also just kind of like being put in that place of a child of like when the principal comes in and he's like, I would hate to call your parents. And then everyone's like, oh. And then I'm like, yeah, that really real scary feeling like once the parents get involved and the parents get involved. And then when that happens, like, and that's the thing where you're talking about with Miki, I feel like for me as someone who has had to learn and grow and try to make amends on things I've done in the past as like young dumb kid, not even in junior high. It was like all elementary stuff. And you always are going to have this feeling of like, I am not worthy of someone else's remorse. And that mother, I think, feels that same way. Because like my child caused your child much more harm. And it's like my child did something good and got hurt for it. But your child got hurt for doing nothing wrong. And so it's like there is that level of like that Miki's never going to like really understand like, yo, Shoya almost died saving your daughter. But like it's like it's all good. Like I'm just glad everyone's happy. Even though it's like, yo, your son became like a hero. But like, you know, that's not this story. And I thought that was really, really well done. Because there isn't like, and that's the thing where it's like it is fictionalized where it's like people aren't terrible. They aren't trying to be terrible. Right.
But even the adults are bullies too. I mean, that's Shoko's mom being a bully. That's the teacher not doing, you know, which I get. Teachers' hands are tied with kids sometimes. They can only be like, stop it, stop. And that's like the extent of what they can do, you know? But there's a lot of people who are bullies in this movie.
People are flawed.
Yeah.
What
massively.
a concept.
Crazy.
But man, more just stories that kind of talk about it and bring it up and put it into the highlight. Just because I just really like that Tomohiro's like, you were my best friend, and he doesn't know this old version of Shoya, and Shoya lives with the old version of himself all the time. And then there's that moment where they're Shoko and Shoya are both dreaming, and they both dream of different things, like when she sees the young version of him and he like dreams that he wrote into her book of like how he was going to kill himself. I was just like, I don't know.
About that.
I enjoyed those kind of things where like it was kind of breaking reality in a way. It was a real surrealist film in that sense. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's so much that
Go on and on.
art form, artwork, art style, animation, all beautiful. Even the backgrounds, like when they first jump into the river and he comes out and the river looks photorealistic.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is dumb.
Yeah.
This is so what is this? And
Why
then,
is this so good? I don't understand.
no Academy nomination. Anyways, but it's like that kind of stuff. I'm like, guys, y'all, come on, man.
Yeah.
And this was like in 2014? 2016.
2016, yeah.
2016.
That sounds about right.
This is back in the day. Anyways, but
Back in the day.
Back in the
let's
day.
move on.
5 whole years ago.
Move on to favorite characters. And we'll do
Yeah, which I was going to ask, what do we
let's do 3. So let's just do 3. Just 3 characters.
3, yeah.
No restrictions. 3 characters. Because it's a little bit of
Okay.
ensemble.
Yeah, because I picked one, but I figured you would say neither of the main two. So
And I didn't want to do
It's too
that.
complex. I
Yeah.
feel like this movie's too complex.
give me a
to be
sec
like,
then.
Nah,
You guys go
they're-
ahead then. I
they're
gotta
both so
readjust
lovable.
my picks. Or my pick, or add to my pick, rather.
I mean, it's hard not to pick Shoya and Shoko.
Mm-hmm. That's why I figured you'd be like one
Yeah.
who's not them.
So the one who's not them
Yeah.
is probably I really enjoyed
Marie.
No,
Maria. She's so
Maria.
the squeaky shoes.
So cute, though.
I enjoyed Nagatsuka
Oh,
because
with his stash.
he's Samwise Gamgee.
Oh.
He is just there.
He
He's a
is.
good guy. He's there to defend his friend, and even when his friend like says like you don't even know me, and it's like, and then he's like you don't mean that, but I'm gonna give you some space. I'm like that is the most understanding friend, especially
Yeah.
at young ages. Like people like I have like in my experiences, like I had moments where like I never rebounded and was like I'm gonna be their friend again. I was like no, I'm done, and that's something that like maybe it's because he was also a loner. And he's just willing to have that redemption story for Shoya to have him, and he leads him across like the good path of like he's there with them when he wants to meet Shoka, he's there with them when they want to meet Sahara, he's there with them when they want to go see Naoka, in the cat house, cat bar, he's there to support him, and they have that hangout, and then oh my god, a favorite moment when they go out to the freaking fair. And then he has that moment. He's like, is this what it feels like? This feels so familiar. Am I allowed to have this much fun? And I was just like, oh.
Tom relates.
God.
Got him.
good.
Tom relates.
But no, but also like he's a protective friend who's just like, that's my friend.
Yeah.
And I'm
Don't
like,
touch him.
yeah. And
Get the bike.
anyways,
The bite kills you.
He gets his bike.
he gets his bike back. He found it.
Yeah.
On
Thank
ice
goodness
padding.
your address
found
was
it.
on here.
Yeah. God damn.
Such a good boy.
Yeah,
Kaylin.
Caitlin.
Shoko.
Mm-hmm.
She's great. Yeah, I feel like the grandma's just really up there for me. And then Miki.
Mm.
What an experience to live through. Because she also has her daughter, who we
Who's
never see the
married.
face of.
Yeah, Miyako, or his mom.
No, yeah. So Miki's the blonde girl, and we never see Shoya's sister.
Yeah.
We only see his niece, and we
And
see his brother-in-law
Yeah, who
Adrian.
comes back after.
after he's working out.
Yeah.
Well, he was in the army,
Yeah.
so he.
But then you see one clip of him in the opening
Oh
sequence.
yeah,
when
that
they
he's like
pull-
there.
Yeah, he's just like, oh yeah.
Yeah. So Miki for being that like
The all mother.
the all mother. She's like the single mom who's running her own business.
Yeah.
She's got
She's stopping
that was-
fights.
her daughter's child that she's basically raising
Yeah.
because her daughter has to go out and work, and then she's got her son who's suicidal and tried to kill himself and accidentally burnt up 1.7 million yen.
Mm-hmm.
So like crippled their family twice over by accident. Well, first time through her son.
Damn.
Both times technically through her son, just as an indirect on the second time. But she's just like this strong woman who's probably been through so much just
Yeah.
shout out to her.
She was the choice I came into the studio with before I had to pick two others. I loved her. I really liked her character. I liked the way they had her roots coming out.
Oh, yeah.
You know, she
A
like has
stylist.
black hair, but she dyes it blonde, but the roots are still coming out in the
She
middle.
has no time to do her
Yeah,
own hair.
exactly, because she's doing a million other things at once.
It's just so subtle things like how Shoya's tag is always out.
Always out,
yeah,
constantly.
yeah.
I love that.
Always a little disheveled.
So yeah, I mean, the other two would have to be the other protagonists for me. But yeah, she was my favorite.
I forgot to mention another favorite part. This is like a dark part.
I was gonna keep going.
Look,
Oh, yeah. He's not gonna stop.
It's when
we can't stop him.
It's when Shoko is about to take her life, and it's weird because it's beautifully shot.
Oh, of course.
And there's a
With,
moment
like the curtain and everything.
Yeah, and I think that's a really really cool thing to happen where it's like a juxtaposition of something very dark and sad and tragic with something beautifully displayed, because it is also like Shoko making a decision on her own, because a lot of her life is not in her own decision. Like she gets dragged to go to the Ferris wheel with Naoka. She, her sister is pretty much guarding her the entire time. If I can have an honorable mention, Yuzuru is amazing.
Yuzuru is
yeah,
amazing.
yeah.
So protective.
She's my girlfriend.
So good.
God, when she sees she's like, "What's wrong?" And she texts her that like, "I told him I liked him," and she was like, "What?" And then he's like, "And he didn't understand." Then she was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
I feel so bad now."
Yeah.
But like those two like sides of being a sibling, of like, "You told him what? That asshole? Oh, he didn't get it. Oh, I'm so." Let me come for you.
And then so for the list, also just that part, she takes pictures of dead animals, so sure her sister wouldn't want to be dead. It was like, it's anyways. But also just that whole when like Shoya actually grabs her, and then like he's like, "God, just give me one more ounce of strength, and I can help her." I was like, I promise, I will. It's a scoundrel's plea, right?
Yeah.
Of like pleading to God because you have nowhere else to go. You have nothing else to in the bank, so you plead to the person you've never talked to.
Yeah.
And like, but just the poetry of him. He's the one that falls, and then like, you don't see the actual fall. You see an egg into the bowl, and then you see his mother, and it's just that symbology.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh my God, oh my. Oh, anyways, it was. Oh my.
So anyway, raid qualms now.
Qualms now.
Qualms. Tommy, I'm assuming you don't have any. Caitlin, I'm assuming you don't have any.
Wrong.
Qualms. Go ahead, Caitlin.
I as balanced as everything is, I still feel like it was a little too unfair to Shoko. Which, yeah, it was still way too unfair to Shoko. She constantly had to be.
She's physically getting harmed.
Yeah, she's physically getting harmed constantly, and it's just like I feel like.
And she's feeding into her own kind of victimhood of like, it's always my fault, even if I get hit.
Which and I
Which is
understand the
terrible.
importance of
Telling
showing
that
that,
story,
and
yeah.
I don't think it was incorrect to do, because when you are really downtrodden over and over and over again,
it's a real
you
thing.
get in that
Yeah.
and
And
you get in that mode.
You're differently abled. I think that's what happens.
Yeah.
And it sucks. And that's why I was like, I'm here for the mom to slap some kids
Yeah.
around.
Yeah,
yeah.
like of course her mom is overprotective and almost to an almost cruel level, because her daughter is constantly going through the worst hell
Just
imaginable.
because that was going to be one of my qualms, I don't want to repeat anything.
Yeah,
I'll just
yeah.
jump on top of that. At the end of the movie, it still made me very hard to totally forgive him.
Yes.
Because of that. And I know it was a bold choice to do, and it's a hard thing to do, and this is the reason why. But because of all that and how she still feels towards the end of the film, I was still like, but still kind of fuck this guy though. Like, I know he's trying really hard, but like, it's fucked up. It's some shit.
And that's the kind of gray area though.
Yeah.
Is that it wants to live in on purpose, which makes it that much harder to be like, but does he get to? Should he get to? And especially with her. Like,
I was more so at that end of the film just happy that his mom didn't lose. You know what I mean? Like, I was like rooting for her happiness.
Yeah.
Through him.
Yeah.
Well, because it would have been like an utter tragedy. But then also like this is the start of his new year, so it's like he has family and friends and support, so now he can grow. But like he's not perfect yet.
And I think
Nor will he be.
the movie did such a good job with it, which is why I feel a little conflicted about it being a qualm. But at the same time, I'm like, no, Leave this poor girl alone.
No, I mean that's the whole. And that's why I loved Yuzuru so much. Where she's like, if you're just here to make yourself feel better, then you should just leave.
Yeah.
Are you really her friend?
Yeah.
And like, I loved that up front, where it was like, yeah, this isn't some like you're doing good things to make yourself feel good. You should be doing good things because you're a good person and you want other people to feel good. And then there's that moment he has where he's like, I just want her to like herself.
Yeah.
And then he has a moment he's like, because I also hate myself too.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know, like, and that's the thing where they both have to kind of like be there for each other because they both don't like each other for different reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wrapped up a little more than I wanted it to because of her how she was treated with like anyway.
And that's why
yes, I agree with you.
Yeah, it's really complicated, but it is still a qualm. I feel like there was it would be very slight. It would be very small dialogue change things.
Yes.
Just to make it feel like she had a little bit more.
A little less of a wrapped up.
Yeah, it's so nuanced. It can't be done conventionally where there's a happy ending.
Yeah. So and I feel like they did a great job with it. But yeah, just a little bit more.
So that's
for Shoko.
That's
Shoya.
That's your one.
That's my one. I don't think I have a second.
Your second?
It's a small one, but pacing. It's it's a 2-hour movie, and I get that they're trying to fit a lot into it. But I almost would have been happier with either cutting some of the stuff, either earlier on or doing 2 movies. But for me, there was a part of it kind of towards the end, not when everything kind of ramps up, but just felt a little
kind of pretty much after he falls, right?
Yeah.
It felt like for me, it felt a little like, oh, there's so many endings.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like,
it just felt like and it's a little one again, but it just felt long. It felt 2 hours.
That's fair.
I have one, and I thought about it. And it's a little different than yours. Okay. I wanted to know more what Shoko wanted.
Yeah.
I know what Shoya wanted. I don't know what Shoko really wants.
Yeah. Or how she really feels.
And so he's driving the story. We're with him, but she becomes very important. And that's the kind of thing where it's like when you start adding, like we know what Yuzuru wants. She wants to protect her sister and also wants to kind of be a better daughter and granddaughter. We know what most characters want who kind of have important implications for the main character. I don't know what Shoko wants. And I do got to shout out, though, that the dub team did get an actor who is differently abled. And so she killed it in her dub performance. Because I looked it up and was like, let me look at it just to make sure they did their due diligence, right?
Oh, they definitely did.
Right.
And she was great. And I was like, okay, cool. That's what's up. Just check the creds. A lot of people want to get work and gotta represent. And but I just felt like because it was an adaptation of a manga, that the limited point of view prevented me from knowing if Shoko wanted to have a friend, if these feelings developed now, or did she always have like a little bit of a crush on Shoya, or like does she aspire to like, did she graduate from school? And of course that's not the story they're telling, but I kind of just wanted to know, like,
just a peek behind the curtain a little
have
bit.
him be more invested in what she wants.
Yeah.
Internally, like she wants to to kind of not be a burden to anyone anymore.
Right.
And for him, internally, he's like, I never thought I would do anything after this point. So now, like this,
what do I do?
This moment where I was supposed to make amends with someone before I was supposed to kill myself. Now I have to live with this. I made amends. And now I have to live with this. And now I'm on this kind of second life cycle. And I always think about the Tom Hiddleston quote of like, everyone has 2 lives and your second one starts when you realize you have one. And kind of just,
real.
that experience happens with him, but with her, I don't know what her second life, when it happens at the end for sure of her, like, I'm sorry, I couldn't change. And that's why you fell. But then they both need each other in a way where they're both learning to kind of heal each other's wounds and scars through their own friendship. But like, I just really wanted to know, like, what does she really care about?
Mm-hmm.
She kind of feels a little bit like romantic interest. Not so much like he wants to date her, but like we don't get to know what she wants.
He just admires her and she admires him.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she
reasons.
does like him, and he really just like, she's a good person and she should be treated as such.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I dig that.
yeah. So
Yeah.
that's the only thing if I would add more is that, but that maybe a little longer.
I'll definitely be. I mean, do 2 movies. I'm into it. I'll definitely be reading the manga
Yeah.
because of this.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll definitely be watching it again and
Yeah.
then telling people to watch it
Yeah.
and then crying every time.
Research that flower language too. When you see certain things, you're just gonna be like, oh.
Well, and so I mean that's a thing. Like, if you see pretty things and that's the argument of style over substance. Where like if you don't understand the substance, you're only going to see style.
yeah.
And so like you don't understand how hard this shot is or how meaningful this is.
Mhm.
You know, like the blood drop on the happy smiley face of a Watchmen thing. That's supposed to be analogous of 5 minutes to midnight, aka the end of the world. But if you just see, oh, it's ketchup on a thing, and you're like,
Yeah.
that's okay. You know, it's like,
Yeah.
oh, like if someone gives them a white flower, it's like they want to be friends.
Yeah.
You know, like a red rose. You know, especially if that becomes a motif. So
Mhm, mhm.
now
Ratings.
let's move to ratings. So Caitlin's first.
Yeah, Caitlin's first.
Who's ready to hear me say 5? We all knew it was coming.
We all knew it was coming.
Yeah.
Corey, you, me. What you want to do? You want to do it at the same
Caitlin,
time?
who should go next?
I think Tom should go next.
Okay.
Tom will go next. It is. It's a 5.
Yeah, of
It's a
course it is.
5. It's so.
I knew Tom was gonna cry a lot.
Beautiful.
I know.
So,
Nerd
oh
on
my
Nation.
God.
Correct.
Y'all got it wrong.
Look, again, the hosts know.
Y'all
So
got
we
it
already know.
wrong.
We already know what your sister.
the hosts know that I am a little bitch,
Yeah.
and I like to cry, and I like to feel things. I like to,
And I don't.
I like to hurt.
Emotionally.
We had a
Yeah.
question on one of our updates, I'd say like 6 or 7 months ago, where they were like, what's the last movie that made you cry? And I had like an existential crisis because I don't. I cried a lot of other things in life, but movies, for some reason, as much as I love them, are not one of them.
Huh.
And I think it's because I'm like very focused on watching it, maybe. Dana cries at the drop of a hat, which makes me feel even worse because I'm like, Jesus Christ, I'm a monster.
this is what happens. I feel like when I watch a movie and I start crying, they're like, "Here's this wonderful bouquet, this banquet of food," and I'm like, "Oh, this okay. I see what you're doing. This is a theme, and I'm eating it. Oh, that's interesting. You took this little shot, and then the fucking chef from down the hall just shot me in the heart with an arrow. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, I wasn't expecting this.
Here's where I am in a mental state. Here's how my mental health is going. I don't cry when people are telling real stories of emotion on film and TV.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
the other day I broke down thinking of how much I like Scrubs season 1 and how much that show has touched me. I broke down crying. So what's wrong with me?
You okay, buddy?
America?
or thinking of like, man, this cat thinks I'm a way better person than I actually am.
Jesus. You don't even know, man.
That was a
So
day,
anyway,
wasn't it?
my score, 4.8.
4.8
knew.
for Corey. I thought it was going to be a
4.8.
4.7 for Corey, but that's-
Really? 4.8. I don't really have any big qualms except I either wanted it to be a little more tight or give us 2 movies. I would have watched both.
Now, since Caitlin and I, we watched Sound Euphonium because we talked with Crunchyroll.
Yes.
Which this film, I think some of the producers, some of the writers did Sound Euphonium. That I think you might like in terms of like, because it's the length and how it's done and it fully goes into the story. It's very much about like redemption, all that stuff, but it's also beautifully done.
Yeah.
But this, to your point of like, oh, I would like it longer. I'm like, I'm also just thinking, I'm like, man, you just want some Your Lie in April. Your Lie in April is an anime series.
So we're
one
gonna do
season.
Your
What am I
Lie in
doing?
April. We're gonna do Your Lie in April at some point.
Literally,
That's what's gonna
I
happen.
told this to like friends on Facebook back. I'm like, I'm going to start Your Lie in April. Everyone just went straight. Caitlin was like, no, because that movie and someone
It
who
will kill
or that show.
you.
Someone literally told me, I was like, why do you want to do that to yourself?
Yeah.
They're like, that just makes you feel. Why do you want to
Constantly.
feel bad? Why do you want to
Yeah.
hurt so
Yeah.
bad? I'm like, oh my God, I haven't even started the show.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful.
And then you
it's
started,
happy,
and you're like, oh,
and
no.
it's to me, and that hits me. Of course, I love the shonen stuff, but I'm like, yo, this is some real. And that's the thing where I love about animation, right? Animation is such a slept-on medium where people just think like, oh, it's for kids, you know, or it's the thing that the kids drag the parents to, and then they're like, oh, Inside Out, oh my God, my emotions, and I'm like, but is it really going how deep it is? How deep the well can go? And I think here
Hell of
it
a
went,
boss.
It went so
Has Been
deep.
Hotel.
It went so deep that even some points like it's still not the character's still not redeemed. You know, where
Yeah.
it's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
It's like, can we tell these stories where the character doesn't get redemption?
Yeah.
And it's like, we should be allowed to. We should be allowed to split hairs. And I'm like, so I did want to say one thing also. Just
One more favorite part.
well, the part that made me cry.
I gotta still
really-
give a shout out to the Neuron Nation
Yeah.
whenever you're done.
Wait,
by the way.
because Corey is the grump.
Is
Yeah,
the
someone did
this
get that right.
episode, yes.
The part that I cried so hard was when Shoko was like, I want to fix everything that Ishida went to create. I was like, I destroyed everything he tried to make, and I was just like, oh my god. And it's that cycle of like everyone always going to feel this guilt, and I was just like, oh my god. And then when she has that moment with the blonde girl in the park, and she's like, you have to accept who you are, even for all the good and the bad, and life is hard sometimes, but it's not a reason to not keep going forward. And I was just like, oh my god.
I picked the movie that broke Tom.
Shout out to the Nerd On Nation. One person voted. And
Let me guess.
yeah.
Dampy.
Yeah.
Damn.
Here's the thing. She didn't watch it with me. She fell asleep and she didn't hear me talk about it.
Wow.
So she good guess. She watched most of it, ended up falling asleep about, I'd say, hour and a half in.
Wow. Okay.
So almost watched a lot of it.
Almost.
But this is just, she got it. She nailed it. Well done.
Wow.
Cheater.
I'm so proud of
Cheater.
myself and Dana
I didn't
right
tell.
now.
I didn't say a
She's
thing.
cheating.
I picked Corey too.
Oh, you're both.
In
cheaters.
fact, when she said, how was the rest of the movie? I said, beautiful. That
Oh.
was all I said.
oh, I picked Corey.
Yes.
because no one picked you, Caitlin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course not. This was obviously going to be a 5 for
Yeah,
me.
you guys both picked me because who else are you going to pick? 3 people.
Yeah.
I'm so excited to see how this has changed your life in the future.
I'm sorry I don't feel.
It's okay, buddy.
You do feel. You do
4.8.
You do feel.
It's a 4.8, guys.
But also, this is like, and I definitely watched a couple of like reactions, and there's so many actually online YouTube reactions of the whole movie.
I know.
And some people were just like, I think this movie was written for me, and I love that reaction, and that's from like several different like
I'm sure.
accounts, and I'm like, that's what I felt like happened here. Was like, it's so specific, it's so like, it's not about me, but it hits on some really visceral things.
I mean, this movie is for the bully and the one who was bullied.
Yeah, well, I mean, and that's the thing with like, I go back to the train spotting.
Yeah.
Like like watching experience. Like
Ugh.
Caitlin had such a visceral reaction.
I was ready to go throw up in the bathroom when we were done.
I was watching a film and I was like, oh, this is very deep and dark, but I don't have those experiences. So I'm like, it doesn't like a chef from down the hall shoots me with an arrow, you know, like this was precision, like Coriolis effects, sniper 50 cal, like there's like lock and load.
Oh my god.
Target acquired.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, I'm eviscerated.
Now,
Like,
I almost had that with a movie once.
which one?
I almost had it with
Beginners.
La La Land.
Oh.
And then the message it sent, I totally disagreed with, and it's now become
But
my
you would have
least
had, you might have
least
had,
favorite movie of all time.
you might have had a closer
Oh,
one.
I know
with
the
Whiplash.
exact moment. Never mind.
Do you?
I mean,
Whiplash was different.
Whiplash to me is like a good
Chef's Kiss.
that
But La La Land. We'll cover it some. That's my hot rod.
someday.
That's my hot rod.
You guys can help out.
We don't have to.
All 50 of you
We do.
listening
I understand it.
could go and support our Patreon for $4 a month, and we can get to that goal, and we can cover La La
We're
Land.
very close. You get
So
to pick what we
close.
cover. It could be La La Land.
$12 a month, y'all.
Could be.
Yeah.
That's 3 coffees. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
Anyway.
Oh, $12 a year. $12 a year. Not a
Yeah.
A
month.
year. Yeah.
A year.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Year.
Anyway, that's it.
That's it.
That was a grump.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone, for listening. If you have watched it, what did you think of
What did you think of the movie?
a silent
it
voice,
good?
aka the shape of voice?
Sorry.
Um,
That was for Julie.
was your, even if you didn't vote it, was your predictions correct? Put it in the comments. Put it in your rating. We want to read it. We want to talk to you
What's
about
your
it.
favorite flower?
What's your favorite flower? What parts made you cry the most? Do you think Tom
Or are
is?
you like me? Are you a monster?
Yeah. Are you a monster or a bitch? Like, pick.
Oh my
Those are the
God.
only two that we can have.
Yeah. those are
No
the
in
only options
between.
available.
Emotionally stable, unstable. Thank you everyone for listening. Again,
Both emotionally unstable on different ends of the spectrum.
you do help us grow by listening and sharing with your friends. And if you hated this episode, share it with your enemies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you would like to see everything that we do, check out nerdon.tv. And that has all of our episodes backlogged. Also has links to our video versions, which we work really hard on.
Yeah, I want to do a little Josh line here. Do check out that Patreon. Do check out that Discord.
Do what? Do check out?
That's what he
Hey,
said.
check it out. Yeah, because that's, I think, a very like British thing.
Maybe.
Like, do so.
Probably.
We do have an open Discord that is open to everyone, but Patreon gets those secret channels.
Yeah, they do.
What's up?
It's true.
Yo, 4 quarters, baby.
Yeah.
4
So-
quarters. You can't even do a load of
Even if you're
laundry
not,
for 4 quarters.
even if you're not in the Nerd Nation, come jump on the Discord. Hang
Yeah.
out with us.
Check it out.
The Discord.
You can message me directly and tell me how much of a
Of a monster,
Monster
he
you
is.
are.
of us.
Well, also, more of a monster Caitlin is for picking this movie.
Yeah, you're the real monster here. Anyway,
Yeah.
Wahaha.
thank you guys for listening. You know the drill. As always,
Nerd on.
Ending broadcast.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to Nerd on the Podcast.
I know we
You
gotta start that
didn't
over. I was
eat. Yeah, that's
laughing in
what I
the middle of
forgot.
it. I was laughing.
When most people think of pop culture, they think of capes. Oh no. Capes, dragons. Wait, there was not a comma. Pop culture capes? Oh no.
Oh,
I'm gonna
shit.
edit that. Shit! I'll delete it.
This is 4K video.
Yeah, 3 minutes of 4K video that we cannot use. That's
Oh
right.
no, this is actually good video for Patreon
Yeah, right.
for me.
That's true.
Patreon's just gonna get to the beginning and be like, oh,
Julie cut this portion
no.
so that we have it, and then we just upload it to Patreon.